After paying off my parents' mortgage, covering my brother's rehab, and skipping my own honeymoon to help them move, I asked if I could stay in my childhood room for 2 weeks while my apartment was being renovated. My mother looked me dead in the eye and said, "We don't want you disrupting the energy of the house." That night, I slept in my car outside the house I grew up in. At 3 a.m., I got a text from my dad, "Please don't park in front of the lawn. It looks bad for the neighbors." I'm 34 now. I live in Austin, Texas. I work in software, not flashy stuff, back-end systems, a lot of databases, but I've done well for myself. I've kept my head down, worked hard since high school. Got into UT Austin with a partial scholarship. Took out loans for the rest. My parents never had money for college. Or maybe they did, but my younger brother, Kyle, seemed to always be the priority. Growing up in Garland was fine. At least that's what I used to tell people. 2-bedroom house, 1 shared bathroom. Dad worked in HVAC, Mom cleaned houses. We weren't poor, but things were always tight. I didn't ask for much. Kyle was the one who always needed saving. I was 12 the first time Kyle got suspended, for fighting. I was 14 when he got caught stealing a bike. At 16, he was smoking pot in the garage, leaving beer cans under his bed. My parents just kept saying, "He's figuring things out." Meanwhile, I was doing AP classes, delivering pizzas, and getting screamed at for forgetting to rinse my dish. Kyle dropped out of community college after 1 semester. I didn't even know he enrolled until I heard he stopped going. At 22, he totaled a car driving drunk. My dad paid the impound fee. At 24, he OD'd on something laced. I found out when I got a call from the hospital asking if I was his emergency contact. I was. My parents didn't answer their phones that night. And yet, Kyle was always the one going through something. They bent over backwards for him. Me. I got a pat on the back and a "we're proud of you" once a year, maybe. When I was 30, I got a big bonus from my company, about $80,000. After taxes, it was still a solid chunk. I'd been saving up, had no debt left. I wanted to do something nice. I remembered my parents always stressing about their mortgage. They'd refinanced more than once, and they were looking at another 10 years of payments. So I paid it off. Just like that. I still remember my mom crying on the phone. "You're our angel," she said. "You've always been the responsible one." My dad said, "You didn't have to do that, son." But he smiled. For once, he seemed proud of me. That feeling lasted all of 5 months. Kyle relapsed. He'd been in and out of some court-ordered programs before, but nothing stuck. This time, it was fentanyl. Nearly killed him. My parents panicked. They didn't have money for proper treatment. Their credit was shot. Kyle was barely coherent, muttering to himself in the ER. I stepped in. Found a rehab center near Houston that specialized in opioid recovery. $19,000 for 28 days. I paid in full. The place had good reviews, counselors on site, no sketchy, spiritual healer nonsense. Kyle didn't even say thank you. My mom did, once. My dad said, "You've always looked out for your brother." Right. Then came the move. My parents had been wanting to get out of their old house, my old house. For years. Found a place just outside Garland with a bigger yard, quiet neighbors. My dad's back was giving him hell, my mom had shoulder issues. They asked if I could help with packing. Thing is, I was supposed to be in Big Sur that week. My fiancé and I had planned our honeymoon there. We'd postponed the wedding already during COVID. This was supposed to be our time. I canceled the trip. My fiancé wasn't happy, but she understood. I told her, family comes first. She hugged me and said, they better appreciate this. They didn't. I did everything. Boxed up their garage. Rented the U-Haul. Carried dressers down a narrow hallway in 95-degree heat. My dad mostly sat. My mom bossed me around. Kyle. He wasn't feeling well and slept in. 2 weeks later, they were moved in. No thank you dinner. No card. Just an, "It's finally over, huh," from my dad. Then comes this past fall. My apartment had a mold issue, leaky ceiling, rotted insulation. The landlord offered to put me in a hotel during repairs. Problem was, the hotel was in a bad part of town. Sketchy people hanging out in the parking lot, cops showing up twice in one night. I didn't feel safe. So I called my mom. "Hey, my place is under repair. Can I stay in my old room for 2 weeks?" I said it like it was nothing. Like I was asking to borrow a jacket. She paused. "We don't want to disrupt the energy of the house." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. But she wasn't joking. "The energy? It's been really peaceful here," she said. "With Kyle's recovery and the new setup, we've got a rhythm. We're trying to keep it." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I paid for that house. I know. And we're so grateful. But, it's not a good time. I drove there anyway. I thought maybe if they saw me, face to face, they'd realize how insane this was. That I needed help. That I was family. My dad opened the door. I hadn't seen him in a few months. He looked surprised. Not happy, more like I caught him cheating on a test. "I just need a place to sleep," I said. "Just for 2 weeks. That's all." He didn't invite me in. He stepped out onto the porch and closed the door behind him. "It's not a good time, son," he said. "Your mother's got her routines now. Kyle's got his room the way he needs it." I stared at him. "And what about me?" He looked away. "You always find a way. You always land on your feet." I slept in my car that night. Right in front of the house I paid off. October in Texas isn't freezing, but it gets cold at night. I wore a hoodie, tried to recline my seat. Couldn't get comfortable. My back ached. My eyes stung from staring at the ceiling. At 3:12 a.m., I got a text from my dad. "Please don't park in front of the lawn. It looks bad for the neighbors." That was it. "No, come inside." "No, are you okay?" Just that. Something broke in me. I stared at the house for a long time. The same house I'd paid off. The same family I'd bent over backwards for. That was the last night I ever asked them for anything. But it wasn't the end. Because the real revenge was just starting to form in my mind. I didn't go back to Austin right away. I parked down the street the next night. Not in front of their lawn, God forbid the neighbors know their golden son was sleeping in a car. I found a spot near the park. Spent the night there. It was cold. I didn't sleep much. I just sat with it all. The anger. The shame. The sick feeling in my gut. By morning, I had a list. It wasn't written down. Not yet. But it was there in my head. Every favor. Every dollar. Every hour I gave up for them. Mortgage, $68,412. Rehab, $19,000. Moving truck, supplies, and 2 weeks of my time, maybe $3,500 all in. The honeymoon? Can't really put a number on what that cost me. But it took something. My fiancée didn't say it, but I could feel it after. Like something in her changed. And what did I get in return? A locked door. A cold porch. A text at 3 a.m. telling me I was bad for the lawn. I left Garland the next day and went back to the hotel. I didn't say goodbye. Didn't text. I didn't need to. I was done being the good son. But I wasn't done. A few weeks later, I got a call from my mom. I let it go to voicemail. She said they were having trouble with some tax stuff and wondered if I could take a look. Apparently, the mortgage payoff changed their property taxes and they didn't understand the paperwork. I didn't call back. Then my dad called. Said Kyle's car was acting up and asked if I still had that guy who could get cheap repairs. Ignored. Then Kyle texted. Hey man, you got any spare cash? Trying to get a new phone. Didn't reply. Instead, I started gathering receipts. Every payment I made. I still had most of them. I called the rehab center and requested a statement. I emailed the bank for the mortgage payoff letter. I even found the rental agreement for the U-Haul. I printed it all. Put it in a folder. Titled it, What I Did for This Family. That Christmas, I mailed it to them. No letter. No card. Just the folder. A week later, my mom called again. I picked up this time. What is this? She asked. What it looks like. You're keeping score now. I should have started a long time ago. There was silence. Then she said, we didn't ask for any of this. You didn't have to, I said. I gave because I thought I mattered. But I get it now. Kyle's your son. I was just your emergency fund. Click. She hung up. And that was it. Or so I thought. I didn't hear from any of them for about 2 months. It was weirdly peaceful. No calls. No guilt trips. No, Kyle needs help again. I was finally focusing on my own life, something I hadn't done in years. Then one Saturday morning, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Dallas area code. I let it go to voicemail. The message was from a woman named Dina. Said she worked at a pawn shop in Mesquite and wanted to confirm the origin of a MacBook Pro that someone brought in, because the serial number was flagged in her system. That's when I realized something. My old laptop had gone missing during the move. It wasn't worth much anymore, but I'd kept it because it had backups of my early projects, taxes, photos. It was sentimental more than anything. I figured it got lost in the shuffle. Now I knew it hadn't. I called her back. She asked if I was Jonathan M., I won't post my last name here, and if I had reported the laptop stolen. No, I said. But maybe I should. She got quiet. Then she said, the guy who brought it in said you gave it to him. His name was Kyle. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I was tired of being surprised. She said she couldn't hold it without a report. So I filed one. Filed a theft report. Put Kyle's full name on it. Serial number. Everything. I wasn't even angry. I was calm. Focused. I sent a text to my dad that night. Just one line, Kyle stole from me. He didn't reply. But Kyle did. He blew up my phone with texts. Long rants. Cursing. Saying I was a rat, that I ruined his life. Said I'd made it impossible for him to get back on track. I screenshotted every message. Sent them to the rehab center with a note saying I was considering legal action for fraud. The director, someone I had spoken to during intake, replied personally. She said, I remember you. You were the one who paid in full up front. We don't see that much. I asked if Kyle had ever finished the program. She checked. He left after 11 days. No refund. No follow-up. That was the final straw. I pulled up my credit report. Found that 2 inquiries had been made under my name the year before. One for a payday loan company. One for a car rental place I never used. Guess who had my old tax info? Guess who lived in the house where my mail used to go? I froze my credit, filed disputes, and put identity theft monitoring on everything. Then I called my lawyer. Yeah, I have a lawyer. I don't use him often, but I keep him on retainer for work stuff. I told him everything. Sent the receipts, the texts, the theft report. He asked me one thing: you want to blow this up, or just send a message? I said, let's start with a message. My lawyer drafted a formal demand letter. It laid out everything. The stolen laptop, the false credit inquiries, the unrefunded rehab deposit. It included copies of every receipt, screenshots of Kyle's texts, and a clear warning. Either pay back $22,000 in damages, or we file in small claims court, report all incidents to law enforcement, and notify credit bureaus and insurers of the identity theft. We mailed the letter, certified. 3 days later, my dad called me. First time I'd heard his voice in months. Son, he started, do we really need to go this far? I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just said, you let me sleep in my car. Outside the house I paid for. Because Kyle needed the energy in the house. He said nothing. I kept going. You let your drug addict son commit identity fraud against the one person who's done nothing but save your asses over and over again. More silence. Then, with a sigh, he said, what if we paid half? I hung up. A week later, I got a call from my lawyer. They wired the full $22,000. No apology, no note. Didn't need one. But I wasn't done. I used that money to do something I should have done years ago. I paid for a private investigator. Not on Kyle. Not on my parents. On me. I wanted to see what damage they'd done in my name. Where my info had been used. What else I missed while I was too busy saving everyone else. Turns out, Kyle had opened a streaming account and subscribed to a crypto trading course under my name. It was small stuff, but it proved one thing: they'd never stop. So I did the only thing I knew would work. I changed my name. Legally. New last name. New address. New credit history. Even a new phone plan. I wiped myself clean. I closed the bank account my parents had linked for years. Got a new number. Told my boss, my friends, and my fiancé. My fiancé, who stood by me through all of this, was the only one who didn't flinch. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, good. Let's start our own family. No more fixing broken ones. We got married 6 months later. Small ceremony in Big Sur. Just close friends. Ocean in the background. No parents. I didn't send an invite. I didn't even tell them. But I did send one thing the day after the wedding. A photo of me and my wife. Smiling. Peaceful. Free. Attached was a note: I finally got the energy right. I never heard from them again. And I never needed to.